Welcome to The Explainer. So if you're tuning in, chances are you've already felt that absolute rush of finding a fantastic product from a supplier on Alibaba. I mean, that's the fun part, right? But then, well, reality hits. You quickly realize that shipping from China to the US, it's not exactly as simple as just clicking buy now. It's this whole complex web of logistics, customs regulations, and honestly, hidden fees. So today, we're taking a ton of insights and real-world case studies from AEB Logistics. They're a company that handles end-to-end global supply chain logistics and returning all that into a highly practical visual checklist for you. We're going to break down exactly how you, as a first-time or growing SMB importer, should evaluate and ultimately select your China to USA freight forwarder. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this dilemma, because this is literally what every single new importer faces. You've gone back and forth, you've negotiated the absolute perfect product unit price. But if your international logistics fail, poof, your profit margins completely evaporate. Relying on the wrong shipping partner leads to these critical, completely avoidable errors that end up costing you massive amounts of time and money. So you really need a strategy to separate the true logistics partners from the guys who are just going to leave your goods stranded at some port. So how do we actually evaluate them?
To answer that, we've structured this explainer around a 4-pillar checklist. We're going to cover evaluating communication and speed, decoding quote transparency, navigating U.S. customs smoothly, and finally, door-to-door FBA services.
Starting us off with pillar number 1, evaluating communication and speed.
Listen, a top-rated China to USA freight forwarder absolutely must start with incredibly clear, reliable, and fast communication. I mean, the international supply chain literally never sleeps, and neither should your awareness of where your cargo actually is. If you reach out for a quote and you're getting super slow replies, or kind of vague answers about routing, or the pricing keeps changing, major red flags, right there. These are classic signs of international logistics scammers, or honestly, at best, just highly disorganized brokers. On the flip side, the green flags, you want a forwarder that provides proactive, live tracking for your shipments. You want dedicated account managers who can give you precise, straight answers. Honestly, good communication is your ultimate preventative measure against freight fraud.
Moving right along to pillar number 2, decoding quote transparency.
You know, finding the lowest initial price, that's easy. But finding an accurate shipping quote, one that isn't going to suddenly balloon once your cargo arrives, now that is where the real challenge is. A red flag quote usually gives you this vague, single-line total cost. It very conveniently leaves out things like arrival port fees or customs brokerage charges. It looks super cheap up front, but trust me, it is a trap. A green flag quote, which a reputable forwarder like AEB Logistics would actually provide, gives you a fully itemized breakdown. It establishes an exact target price for the entire process. And this level of transparency is huge because it empowers you to know your true landed costs before your goods even leave the factory in China.
Now, the crucial point here is understanding the actual shipping terms that dictate those quotes. As a first-time importer, you're going to hear a veritable alphabet soup of terms: FOB, CIF, DDP. Well, delivered duty paid, or DDP, is honestly kind of the holy grail for new importers. With DDP shipping from China to the US, the seller or the forwarder takes on all the responsibility, all the risk, and all the costs associated with transporting the goods right up until you receive them at your actual door. Knowing these terms inside and out is exactly how you mitigate those massive shipping risks.
And these shipping terms matter so much because hidden costs will completely wipe out your margins if you aren't careful. For instance, let's say you ship using CIF terms. Your biggest risk area there is getting hit with unplanned destination fees the second the vessel arrives at a U.S. port. So what's the mitigation strategy? Use DDP, or at least very transparent FOB terms instead. Also, you got to think about less than container load, or LCL shipments. A massive hidden cost here is unplanned warehousing. Basically, if there are post-arrival delays while the container is being unpacked, you pay for it. But a transparent logistics partner is going to help you pre-plan these exact scenarios, so you aren't just suddenly hit with surprise bills just to get your own cargo released.
Okay, let's head into pillar number 3, navigating U.S. customs smoothly.
For a lot of SMBs, customs compliance is hands down the most intimidating step. And fair enough. One wrong code and you're looking at thousands of dollars in penalties, or worse, your goods getting seized at the border. But a truly seamless customs strategy breaks down into 4 really clear steps. It all kicks off with Step 1, the HTS code lookup. This is the harmonized tariff schedule classification, and it determines the exact duty rate you're going to pay. Honestly, if you get this wrong, the rest of the steps just fail. Period.
Step 2 is meticulous documentation prep, which flows right into Step 3, the actual customs brokerage clearance. A top-tier forwarder isn't just out there moving boxes. They're acting as an inclusive customs broker. They handle all these incredibly intricate regulatory steps for you behind the scenes so that Step 4, that final delivery release, happens right on schedule without a hitch.
And that brings us to our final pillar, number 4, door-to-door FBA services.
If you're an Amazon seller, your logistics chain has a very specific and, let's be honest, very unforgiving final destination. Shipping to Amazon FBA is basically the ultimate test of a forwarder's capability. They can't just dump a container at a port and call it a day. No way. Shipping to FBA requires strict Amazon labeling compliance, super specific palletizing procedures, and the surprisingly complex headache of booking a warehouse delivery appointment with Amazon. Whether you're shipping a smaller LCL shipment or a full container load, an FBA specialized forwarder ensures direct delivery into those fulfillment centers without getting rejected. Because if your forwarder doesn't explicitly understand these crazy specific requirements, your Amazon inventory is at serious risk.
To really anchor all these concepts, let's look at a real-world case study documented by AEB Logistics. Imagine moving a 1 by 20 foot, so a single 20-foot container, via ocean freight from Shenzhen, China, directly to New York. In this real-life scenario, evaluating communication meant tracking that container's exact departure from Shenzhen in real time. Quote, transparency? That meant knowing the exact sea shipping rates and New York port fees up front before anything sailed. Navigating customs meant having those HTS codes completely pre-cleared before the ship even docked in New York. And finally, that door-to-door service ensured that once that 20-foot container actually arrived, it was seamlessly put on a truck and driven to its final facility. That, right there, is this checklist in action.
Ultimately, AEB Logistics puts it best. A reliable freight forwarder is your trusted partner for international shipping and supply chain success. And it's so true. When you actually use this checklist, when you demand proactive communication, insist on transparent DDP pricing, require integrated customs brokerage, and look for that specialized FBA knowledge, you aren't just buying space on some random cargo ship. You are literally transforming your entire supply chain from this constant, stressful headache into a highly strategic, cost-effective advantage for your business.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up today's explainer. Is your current freight forwarder a true partner, or are they really just another hidden cost waiting to happen? I highly encourage you to apply this 4-pillar checklist to your very next Alibaba order. Demand that transparency, actively look for those green flags, and take full control of your importing journey. Thank you so much for joining me, and hey, here is to your shipping success.